Hey superhero fans, Spider-Man, brand new day is out and I'm here with an explanation of it. If you want a review and an explanation of the ending plus the post-credit scene, you can check it out on the Bangla Comics channel. Now let's get started with Spider-Man's new journey. So this is the new video about the movie Spider-Man 4 or Spider-Man, Brand New Day. At the start of the movie, we're told that after Doctor Strange's spell, the whole world has forgotten Peter Parker. And this decision was made by Peter Parker himself, because he wanted the people he loves most to be safe. But now, every day, Peter has to carry the weight of that decision on his shoulders. Not just ordinary people, but the two closest people in his life, MJ and Ned, have completely forgotten about him. They're living their lives as if a person named Peter Parker was never a part of it. This truth constantly hurts Peter deep down. Even today, whenever he gets the chance, he watches their videos, old photos, and recordings of different moments. Recently, they were at MIT. He's been admitted, Peter still has one big regret. At the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, he wrote a letter to MJ telling her the whole truth, but in the end he never gave her that letter. He's come to accept it as his fate. Now Peter Parker barely exists in his life. He basically lives entirely as Spider-Man. Just then crime alerts start pouring in from all over the city. News breaks that a few dangerous villains are planning to wreak havoc in the city. At first, Spider-Man is up against Scorpion. They've fought many times before, but every time Scorpion ends up losing to Spider-Man. It's not just Scorpion. Lots of other criminals all over the city are trying to cause trouble too. Spider-Man takes them down one by one and hands them over to the DODC, the Department of Damage Control. On that list of criminals were Tarantula, Boomerang, Tombstone, and even Hand Ninja, but none of them lasted long against Spider-Man. This is just another day in Peter's life, dealing with the city all day long. Fighting against the criminals, MJ would sometimes sit alone at night watching old videos of MJ and Ned. Every now and then, she wondered if she had made the wrong decision, but right after, she convinced herself that this sacrifice was probably necessary, because as long as everyone forgot about her, her loved ones would stay safe. A little later, Spider-Man received another urgent alert. A giant damage control tank had lost control, smashing through the city streets straight toward the damage control headquarters. The tank was destroying everything in its path. Hearing this, Spider-Man, he rushes to the scene trying to stop it. He has no idea what's inside the tank, but no matter what, the tank has to be stopped. Just then there's a small explosion. And right after that, Frank Castle shows up. I mean the Punisher. He's totally different from the usual Spider-Man. The explosion, that was all Frank's doing. He believes all criminals should be killed outright. No point in keeping them alive. Spider-Man, on the other hand, never kills anyone. He catches the bad guys and turns them over to the police, teaching them a lesson. He handed it over. That's why Frank was trying to kill that criminal at the time. Spider-Man realized that if he didn't stop Frank right then, the person driving the tank would definitely die. So he first tried to stop the Punisher. Meanwhile, the tank crashed inside the damage control headquarters. Luckily, no one there got seriously hurt. Then everyone was shocked when an old lady came out of the tank. At first, everyone thought some terrifying supervillain must have been driving it. But the real truth was even more terrifying. The old lady was driving the tank, sure, but not by her own will. A mysterious unknown entity had taken control of her body. Suddenly, the unknown entity left her body and jumped into the body of an officer nearby. And in the next moment, it started hopping from one body to another. One person, then two, and then many more. The unknown entity kept moving forward by possessing more and more people. Seeing this, Spider-Man was completely stunned. He had never seen anything like this before, and the scariest part was that this unknown entity. The unknown entity tries to take over Spider-Man's body, but surprisingly, it can't succeed. No matter how many times it tries, the unknown entity fails to possess Spider-Man. This makes Peter realize there's something inside him that's stopping this entity from getting in. But who is this unknown entity really? What does it want? And why did it show up at the damage control headquarters? To find out more about this unknown entity, Spider-Man goes straight to meet Black Widow from the Thunderbolts. Spider-Man tells her the whole story, explaining how the unknown entity was taking over one person's body after another. It even tried to enter his own body but failed. After hearing everything, Black Widow says that at the damage control headquarters, the entity had possessed at least 30 people, but it wasn't trying to kill anyone. It was actually looking for something specific inside the headquarters. What exactly that thing is, nobody knows yet. Black Widow thinks only the authorities at damage control can answer that because there are some secrets inside the headquarters. There was something, an object or information, that made that anonymous entity so desperate to break in there. Once Spider-Man found out about it, he didn't waste any time and headed straight to the damage control headquarters. After passing a high-security test, he was taken to meet the head of the headquarters, Will. Peter asked Will directly if there was something inside the HQ that kept drawing that unknown entity back again and again. but Will said he had no idea. According to him, the HQ holds a lot of dangerous criminals locked up. Maybe that's why. That unknown group didn't want to free anyone. While talking, Peter's eyes suddenly landed on a mysterious box. Inside it were some strange things that didn't look like regular evidence or weapons. Peter remembered this but didn't say anything more. Later, we see Peter sitting alone in a cafe. Suddenly, he spots Ned. Ned had come there to do some shopping. Seeing his friend up close after so long made Peter's heart ache. Unable to control himself, Peter quietly started following him. He ends up at a party after following Ned. MJ was there too. The moment he sees MJ, Peter freezes for a few seconds. He just stands there, staring from afar, as if memories from the past are flooding his mind. Inside the party, Peter first talks to Ned, but he doesn't reveal who he really is. He uses a different name. Later, he meets MJ as well, but still doesn't tell her his true identity, because to them, Peter Parker is now a complete stranger. There's another important person at the party too. It's revealed that Ned has built a Spidey tracker himself. With this device, it's always possible to track exactly where Spider-Man is in the city, but then Peter sees something that completely breaks him inside. He sees MJ is now in a relationship with another guy. Watching them talking closely, Peter's heart just shatters into pieces. He can't stand being there for another second. Quietly, he leaves the party. On his way home, only one thought keeps spinning in his mind. Has he really lost everything? Has MJ truly forgotten him forever? This mental blow hits Peter so hard that he even struggles to breathe. He gets overwhelmed with intense anxiety. Finally, when he gets home, he suddenly faints. The next morning, as soon as Peter wakes up, he realizes something's not right. There are spider webs all around him. At first, he thinks he's maybe still inside his room. But a few seconds later, he realizes he's not in his bed at all. Instead, he's halfway up the outside wall of his apartment building, several floors above. He was hanging there like a cocoon, trapped inside. Somehow he managed to steady himself and climbed down. Then he realized something even worse. His web shooter wasn't working anymore. Instead, organic webs were shooting out of his body, just like Spider-Man in Tobey Maguire's time. But the problem was, Peter had no control over these organic webs. They'd shoot out randomly. He couldn't tell when or how much would come out. Because of this, he lost his balance and fell. Trying to figure out why, Peter checked his own body. That's when he discovered his body's mutated DNA is starting to change in new ways. His personal assistant AI, Eve, tells him his powers have grown even stronger than before. His sense of feeling has also become way more intense. His spider sense is working in a much scarier way. Peter has no control over these new changes. The biggest problem right now is his organic web, since it keeps shooting out randomly. On top of that, his senses have become so sharp that even the faintest whisper sounds like a thunderclap to him. The noise of cars on the street, the sound of footsteps, distant chatter, everything hit Peter all at once in his head. Slowly, he felt himself losing control over his stillness and his body. Just then, some news came in. Apparently, Scorpion had started attacking the city again. As the news spread, Spider-Man quickly rushed to the scene. But this time, things weren't like before. Peter still hadn't gotten a grip on his new powers. The changes in his body kept weakening him. At first, Scorpion thought he could take down Spider-Man just as easily as before. There might be some fights or small struggles, but within minutes he realizes Spider-Man isn't in his usual rhythm today. His attacks aren't as well controlled as before. Every move is hesitant, every blow feels strange, and Scorpion takes advantage of that. One hit after another, he keeps Spider-Man pinned down. Spider-Man also realizes that today his biggest enemy isn't Scorpion, it's his own body, and he can't control himself. But right then, Spider-Man discovers a strange truth. Inside Scorpion's body, actually, Scorpion's not himself. Some unknown entity has taken over his body. The moment Peter's spider sense realizes this, he suddenly becomes super active. His eyesight sharpens even more and his eyes slowly start turning black. His strength multiplies in an instant. Within moments, Spider-Man launches a counterattack. In just a few seconds, he completely takes down Scorpion. Spider-Man starts hitting him brutally. At one point, he grabs Scorpion and throws him straight onto a police car. Intense. The car got smashed and tossed aside. A woman inside got seriously injured. When Spider-Man turned back to normal, he freaked out. He had no idea how he lost control of himself. He never wanted to hurt anyone safe, but this new power of his seemed to be turning him into a completely different person. To fix this problem, Peter decided he needed to get help from someone who knows the most about DNA mutations. That's why he wants to meet Bruce. With the banner beside him, Bruce is now a professor at Empire State, and Peter isn't his student anymore. Still, Bruce listens to him carefully. Even though Peter doesn't directly talk about his own problems, he starts asking different questions about DNA mutation. He wants to know if suddenly a mutation begins in someone's body, what kind of effects could it have? Can a person keep the good parts of themselves and get rid of the bad parts? Bruce stays silent for a moment after hearing this, then replies. He tells him that maybe he hasn't fully understood what he thinks is bad yet. Sometimes, the things that seem. It seems like a curse, but later it becomes the greatest strength. Bruce's words make Peter think differently. He realizes that instead of destroying his power, he should aim to control it. So Peter starts working on creating a special inhibitor device. For help, he goes to Bruce Banner. Since Bruce is no longer the smart Hulk, he has an inhibitor device and is living his life as normal Bruce Banner now. Seeing Bruce's inhibitor device, Peter makes one for himself. The purpose of this device was to control the abnormal mutation happening inside his body. Day and night, he kept making one prototype after another, but every time he failed. Sometimes the device overheated. Sometimes it worked completely wrong. Other times it broke down just seconds after being turned on. After failing repeatedly, Peter became really discouraged. Just then, while walking on the city streets, he ended up talking to a few ordinary people. At first, it seemed normal, but within seconds, Peter realized that none of them were speaking of their own free will. They're being used. That unknown entity moves from one person's body to another and has started talking to Peter. It lets him know it already knows everything about him. It's even been to Peter's house. It knows every detail of his life now. It's also found out about MJ and will reach her very soon. Hearing this, Peter gets scared. So Spider-Man starts chasing after people to catch that unknown entity. Meanwhile, the entity keeps jumping from one body to another at an unbelievable speed. Gotta keep moving forward. Peter realizes that running like this, he can't outrun that entity, so he gets help from his personal assistant AI, Eve. After analyzing all the data, Eve tells him that the entity can jump up to 33 feet to enter a human body. It can't possess anyone who's farther away than that. With this info, Peter comes up with a plan. But by then, the entity has already taken over a helicopter pilot's body. Spider-Man quickly reaches the helicopter and then traps it midair in such a way that there's no one else within 33 feet around, so no unknown entity or new body can come in. Taking advantage of this, Peter quickly reaches MJ. Suddenly, MJ is totally shocked to see Spider-Man right in front of her. Peter just tells her one thing: your life is in danger, you have to come with me right now. Even though MJ has a million questions in her mind, she surprisingly trusts Spider-Man. Without asking anything else, she goes with him. Together, they reach the rooftop of a tall building in the city. Standing there, they talk a lot. Spider-Man keeps telling her. He tries to explain that he's going through a really tough time in his life right now. MJ calmly says, "I know everything, Peter." Hearing this, Peter is shocked. MJ reveals that she knows Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker. She also knows they used to love each other. Even though the whole world forgot Peter because of Doctor Strange's spell, some part of that memory still lingers somewhere in her mind. Peter couldn't believe his own ears. Then Peter hugs MJ and starts crying. And the next second, Peter finds out. The girl standing in front of him isn't really MJ. Her body has been taken over by this unknown entity. None of the things being said are actually MJ's words. It's that unknown entity speaking. Spider-Man immediately realizes that MJ is in serious danger, so he tries to get the unknown entity out of MJ's body. But meanwhile, the entity controlling MJ drags her to the edge of the building. At the same time, it starts saying a lot of stuff to Peter. Because of this, Peter starts losing control over himself, and Peter's eyes. Then it turns black again. At that moment, the entity inside MJ's body grabs its own throat and tells it to get out. So Spider-Man throws the entity away from the building. Right after that, he puts his mask on and jumps down to save MJ. Then the unknown entity leaves MJ's body, and Spider-Man somehow manages to save her. A little later, Spider-Man uses his spider camera's scans to find out the real identity of the entity. It's not a ghost, it's actually a young girl named Jean, who has some extraordinary abilities. She has telepathic powers. Her real name is Jean Grey. After learning about Jean, Peter realizes he can't handle this problem alone. He also has to keep MJ safe. So this time he goes to Frank Castle for help, that is, the Punisher. Peter explains the whole situation to him and tells him that Jean has now targeted MJ and could strike again at any moment. At first, Frank isn't very interested, but after a while he agrees to help Peter. Peter decides that, for now, MJ will stay safe with Frank, and then Frank had to create a device right there that would control his own mutation. At the same time, it could also deactivate Jean's telepathic powers. Frank tells Peter, "You can work here, I'll arrange everything you need." That night, Peter starts his new research. Meanwhile, MJ steps up to help him. After working for hours together, they finally manage to build an inhibitor device. The device helps control some of the changes happening in Peter's body. He can hold it, but Peter doesn't stop there. He builds another special device. If this device is attached to Jean's body, it will completely shut down her telepathic powers. Just then, a new location alert pops up from Spider-Man's app. Jean has once again reached the damage control headquarters. Peter doesn't waste a second. He sets off immediately to go there. When he arrives at the headquarters, the first thing he notices is Bruce Banner with that special inhibitor device. Peter quickly moves inside. After a little while, he comes face to face with Bruce Banner, but he quickly realizes the situation is bad, because Jean has already taken over Bruce Banner's body. Now Bruce is completely under Jean's control. Then a fierce battle starts between Spider-Man and Bruce, even though Bruce was in his Smart Hulk form at the time. But Smart Hulk has to use all his power to attack Spider-Man. And right then, Punisher shows up. She tells Spider-Man that MJ sent her here. She didn't come to fight on her own. And together, they come up with a plan. Try to stop Hulk. So this time, Punisher plans to find out the real body of Jean. Meanwhile, Peter fights with Hulk. Peter warns Punisher not to go within 33 feet of Jean, or else he'll take over your body in an instant. Frank agrees after hearing this. Moments later, the worst thing happens. Jean leaves Hulk's body and enters Punisher's. But right then, Smart Hulk transforms into Savage Hulk. He's become even more dangerous, and that's when things really get started. He's got a dangerous fight going on with Spider-Man. Hulk's every hit shakes the whole building. Spider-Man fights with all he's got, but Hulk's clearly way stronger. In the end, Peter chooses a different way. He stops the fight, steps in front of Hulk and says, "I'm your friend, Peter Parker." Hearing that, Hulk slowly calms down and Bruce Banner regains control over himself. Meanwhile, Punisher has moved deeper into the damage control headquarters and now stands right in front of Will. His goal is just one thing, Jean. He came looking for her, so she helps him out. He asks Will about Vimax, but Will insists he doesn't know anything about it. Just then, Spider-Man reaches Jean's real body. Without wasting a second, he sticks a special inhibitor device he made onto Jean's neck. Instantly, Jean's telepathic power shuts down. Finally, Jean is captured. After that, everyone thought maybe it was all over, but the real mystery hadn't come to light yet. Later, the scene shows the letter that Peter had sent a long time ago. MJ wanted to give it, but somehow it ended up in MJ's hands, and she even read it. When Spider-Man stands in front of her, MJ says, "I want to see who's really behind that mask." Peter doesn't hide anything. He slowly takes off his mask. MJ sees Peter's real face for the first time and says, "You've been to my house parties before, even the coffee shop, so why didn't you ever tell me any of this?" MJ also tells him, "Maybe I loved you, maybe there was something between us, but that's just a memory now. I don't remember anything, so right now I don't have any feelings for you." After that, Spider-Man goes to Peter's house to drop him off. There he meets Ned. Ned and Spider-Man start joking around like they used to. They hang out for a bit, having fun. But Ned still doesn't know that Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker. He hasn't seen Peter's face yet. Then Spider-Man talks to Black Widow. He tells Black Widow that before Jean passed out, he only said one name, Sara. That's what happened. As soon as Black Widow heard it, she started telling the real story behind the whole thing. She said Jean had an older sister named Sara. Sara had the same powerful telepathic abilities as Jean. She could also enter other people's bodies. But one day, Will found out about their powers. After that, they captured Sara and began conducting experiments on her. However, they never knew Sara had another sister who had the exact same powers. Jean had been searching all this time just for her sister Sara. All she had was a single clue called Vimax, but no one actually knew what Vimax really was. At that time, Jean was under Will's care. Will wanted to study Jean's incredible mental strength. He started running one experiment after another on Jean. Suddenly, Jean's eyes caught a word written on the ceiling, VIMAX. From that word, she figured out that VIMAX wasn't a person. It wasn't some kind of technology either. It was the name of that secret research project where Sara was experimented on, and Sara died during those experiments. In other words, Jean's sister was killed at that facility. Meanwhile, Spider-Man realized by then that Jean wasn't a villain. She was just trying to uncover the truth about her sister. He came to find out and was looking for his sister, so Spider-Man rushed there to try and save Jean. But countless security guards at the headquarters blocked his way. One by one, Spider-Man took them down and got inside. Just then, Jean used her telepathic powers at full strength. Within seconds, she controlled every person living within several kilometers. No one could move. Even the entire network was under her control now, including all the staff at the headquarters. And Punisher was outside that area at the time, so she was safe too. As soon as Spider-Man went inside, a group of ninjas surrounded him. Jean took control of their bodies and started talking to Spider-Man. He said that after seeing the cruel torture his sister went through, he lost all faith in humans. Now he doesn't want to save anyone on this planet anymore. Then all the ninjas jumped at Spidey together. Peter still hadn't fully mastered his new powers. Suddenly his eyes went black again. His spider sense kicked in abnormally. But this time things don't go the same way as before. Where he used to lose control earlier, this time he keeps himself together. He may lose to the ninjas, but he doesn't kill anyone. Then he goes straight up to Jean and stands in front of him. He tries to reason with Jean, telling him that there are bad people in this world, but not everyone is bad. Taking revenge won't bring them back, but Jean isn't willing to listen to anyone now. He wants to kill Will first. Just then, Jean makes one last attempt to enter Spider-Man's body, since this time he's gotten way stronger than before. That's why he succeeds. When Jean enters Spider-Man's memories, he sees Spider-Man's Aunt May. She tells Peter that with every new power comes new responsibility. She says, yes, there's darkness in this world, but it's not just darkness. Aunt May's words touch Jean's heart, and his anger slowly starts to fade. From afar, Punisher is ready to take Jean down to save the city. She takes a shot with her sniper rifle, but at the last moment, Spider-Man dodges the bullet himself. Meanwhile, Spider-Man is badly hurt and collapses on the ground. Seeing this, Frank is stunned too. Jean has gone back to normal and fixes everyone she had controlled earlier. As Jean regains her powers, everyone around returns to normal. Meanwhile, Punisher rushes the seriously injured Spider-Man to the hospital. Very soon, the whole world finds out that Spider-Man is fighting for his life. Fortunately, after a few days of treatment, Peter fully recovers. And then Frank comes up with a plan to get out of the hospital. He puts on Spider-Man's mask himself and stands by the hospital window, waving at the people outside. Everyone looks at him. Meanwhile, Peter quietly sneaks out through the crowd of regular people to see how much everyone loves him. A few days later, Peter spots Ned at a cafe. They shake hands, but it's that special childhood handshake only Peter and Ned know. Ned instantly recognizes it. In that moment, he realizes that the person standing in front of him is actually Peter Parker. And that's exactly where the story of Spider-Man, Brand New Day ends. So that's all for this video, friends. Let me know in the comments how you liked the video. Also, if you enjoyed my work, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with a new video soon. I'm Prince Salman, and you were watching Bangla Movies.